Live from Long Island, New York. It's Love, Death, and Taxes. Hi, Agnes. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
It's great. That's right. That's right. Every time she is great. She is smiling. We're all good to go. We are happy, happy people, people. Um, we're going to talk about some of the terms that we talk about here on the show, Love, Death, and Taxes, some of the relationship terms that we use, or that you might have heard on TV, on the radio, or in the zeitgeist of popular wording nowadays. I mean, things like gaslighting. I'm sure you've heard that. Red flag. Some of them are self-explanatory, but think about those different terms that you hear all the time about relationships, and you do have no idea what the heck people are talking about. We're going to go into that today. So let's get started in just a second. It is Love, Death, and Taxes. Hey, Agnes. So, person comes up to you, they say, "Oh my gosh, I met this guy, but there are at least three or four red flags." and sometimes people are exaggerating, but what do you think? What do you think about someone telling you that? And ladies and gents, if you don't know what a red flag is, well, Agnes can explain. It's pretty simple.
Well, it's funny because before I met my husband, we had a group of girls, and whoever was dating, we were meeting together and we were
Right.
discussing. So like I went out with my girlfriend, her boyfriend, and my sister. We went out to dinner, and then he's at the end. He's taking calculator and calculating everything, who is paying for what, and all that. It's like red flag right there. That's or
Yeah. It's like a
any guy,
warning sign, right?
any guy who is over 35 and lives at home with his parents. That's a big red flag.
I
You know,
mean, it's rough. It's rough. Well, any warning sign, any potential behaviors that you see that might be saying, "Oh, there's going to be a problem." Ladies, if you see like red knuckles, looks like a guy's been punching the wall. Guys, if you see a woman who is wearing way too much makeup, or when you're looking at, you can't even tell whether or not you know those are all red flags that could definitely get you. I mean, they may not be, who knows, but sometimes, more often than not, they are. What do you do when you see a red flag? Well, I mean, it's kind of tough to be mean to people like right away, but you might just have to run the other way. What do we do?
well, there are just signs of impending problems.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean you cannot deal with those problems.
Right.
Doesn't mean those people are not the relationship materials, but they're just signs of impending problems. A guy who lives, or a woman who lives with her parents, and they are over 35, that means, how they're going to deal with their financial situations, how they're going to deal with life themselves when they are on their own or having family. That means there's someone always taking care of them.
Right.
So that's a kind of sign that they might not be able to take care of themselves. They will have
Right.
problem doing that. Doesn't mean they're not capable of doing it, but that means there should be a learning process,
Right.
which not everyone has patience for that.
Right, right. Just a flag. Just a flag. It's like,
Yes.
hey, that might be something that is an issue. I mean, everything else could be great, but maybe that one thing, and maybe you don't care about that. You know what I mean? If you're a billionaire and you're marrying a girl who's 35 years old and doesn't really know how to, make money or whatever, then who cares, right? But it depends, I guess.
Yeah, but they're just like a girl who wear excessive makeup at
Okay,
young age. That just shows that she's insecure about her looks.
possibly,
you know
yeah.
so again, that's kind of okay, she's insecure, therefore you can expect jealousy, you can expect a lot of other things, or maybe she's just high maintenance. So that means, again, there are things, there are issues that coming to into light which might cause a lot of problems.
Right.
Again, if you're rich and you have people to do things for you and that you don't care how much your partner is spending for I don't know, cosmetic procedures, cosmetics, fashion, or whatever, then go for it. But if there is a problem when there's a young couple starting out, that will create a big problem.
How about this one? Attachment styles, and the dictionary is basically saying, "Oops." Um, Dictionary is basically saying that attachment styles are basically patterns of behavior in a relationship that are influenced by early experiences with caregivers, and those attachment styles, or how you love, or how you get attached to people, they include things like secure attachment style. I think that's the most healthy one, right? There's one called anxious attachment style, and there's avoidant attachment style. Well, I know there are people who are, oh my gosh, I need to have a lot more, input from you and stuff. And then there are other people who just like, I like you, but I don't want too much of you at the same time. And I understand that sometimes opposites attract. This is when they will say like opposites attract, right? That the person who's avoidant will actually get into a relationship with someone who is anxious. And so this person is always moving away, and this person is always following, chasing. And so you've got issues, right? Uh, you have any experience with those, Agnes?
Yeah, the first thing that comes into my mind is it's not really an attachment as being needy. Because there's one thing to be attached to a person. I mean, like if you spend um 50 years of your life with someone, or 20 years of life, there's an attachment. There's attachment of being depending on one another, right? So being I'm just trying to fix my hair now. Just to be depending on each other's feelings, on each other's presence, or you develop certain traditions, you develop certain ways of life, and that's what you are used to. At the very beginning of relationship, if someone trying to attach themselves to you too deeply, that's again, a red flag. uh
Oh, that's that
if
one.
someone is, oh, because I just love you so much, they use that love word way too quickly, or they checking on you constantly just because they were hurt in the past, and they want to check constantly, having the, what is it, the location, um locator on your phone, so they will see whether you are, what you're doing, and things like that. That's very unhealthy. That's extremely unhealthy. And trying to take over your life, so you kind of, you feel restrained. The person who is not, very free and doesn't have anything to hide, but at the same time being restrained, that's a big issue, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
you know I know people like that. There's very rarely that two people like that will get together. It
Mhm.
happens. So I guess there might be in heaven. But it's very restraining, and it's unhealthy. It's becoming toxic just because you're losing your friends, you're losing your family, you just stuck with that one person. And when problems will come, and sooner or later they will, then to who you have no place to turn, then you are isolated. And what are you doing then? That's when you're going to start forming friendships. Are
Yeah,
you going to crawl back to your family member and
mm,
ask for help? There has to be understanding of personalities. I get it. If someone's got problem that they were cheated on before and they need to track person, or just, oh no, I have to hold on to you because you are mine, no one can have you and all that. uh, I'll be running for the hills
That's right.
myself. But it's very, very unhealthy, because if you keep someone just because you need to satisfy your insecurities, then you are destroying the other person.
Right.
A relationship really should be benefiting both parties. I think that's the most beautiful thing that can happen. That
So,
you should bring the best out of each other
yeah,
instead you're straining.
that makes sense. So yeah, that one's attachment and getting really attached, I guess, or whichever version of attachment style that you have. But then this one is a great one too, a great word, boundaries. Like there are a lot of people who don't have those, and so you end up having to talk to them about that. Boundaries, according to our relationship information here. It says its boundaries are limits set in relationships to protect emotional well-being and maintain mutual respect. Also, maintaining the food that you put in the fridge, the boundary, and maintaining your job, so people don't just pop up and show up at your job and act crazy. Those all those things that you want to maintain, you need to set those things with boundaries. But in a relationship, what are we really talking about here, Agnes?
No, we're talking about a lot of this, no tracking where we're going,
Right,
uh, not preventing us from having friends or time with friends. I'm not talking about going out every evening. I'm not going out every weekend,
right,
but like time alone with friends, it's very important. Friendships need to be healthy friendships need to be prevented. I mean, not prevented,
protect,
but they need to be uh, what's the word?
being protected.
Cherished
Oh
and
yeah,
protected,
yeah.
cherished and protected,
Mhm.
on both sides, because we both need trusted people that we can vent to. It's healthy for the relationship. It's healthy for the relationship. We need friends beside us that they were able to tell us, listen, you are right or you are wrong. Or maybe you're looking from the wrong point of view. We both need that. There are boundaries with family. There are boundaries too with a lot of things, with children as well.
Mhm.
uh, you need to know what's important to you and for you and protect that.
Right.
So boundaries are very, very important. And yes, so even to food, or popping in, checking on at work, if someone will come in just start checking on me, it'll be like, we're having a big issue, having a big
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. Or like,
I
who is
don't
coming?
mind. I don't mind one or two. Hi, how you doing? Here's a lunch or whatever. But it's a problem if you're out there stalking my female coworkers because you think they're gonna hang out with. They hanging out. Oh, no, that woman spends way too much time with you at work. She's my coworker. This is where she works. This is where I work. What do you think is gonna happen? So yeah, that kind of thing. Which also happens in this situation here that we call codependency. That's another word that we use in relationships a lot. A relationship dynamic where one partner relies excessively on the other for emotional or physical needs. It's saying one partner, but I've seen a lot of codependent where both of them kind of do that. They're kind of connected to one another and they can't let go. And it's a situation where they are. I'm not saying people can't be inseparable for good reasons, but if you can't function because that other person is not around, that's an issue, right?
That's a big problem. Yes, that's a big problem. Um, because sooner, when there is any toxic behavior,
Mhm.
relationship is not going to survive.
Right.
So then I believe that everyone should know how to live by themselves, and how
Yeah.
to take care of themselves, because you never know what life will bring. Heavily depending on one partner, it's going to create bigger problems, because they're going to start feeling overwhelmed. when you're getting married, you are not gaining another mother or another father, someone who takes care of you and be
So
there
correct.
to cater to you, you getting a partner. It's supposed to be equal partnership. I see relationships where one of the parties, let's say a guy who is very modern and young from millennials, like, of course, I'm going to help my wife and I'm going to be there for her and do everything. And then without him realizing, he's getting abused. He's
Mm,
getting abused because suddenly, as a meeting halfway, everything is being dumped on him.
right. So you're not really meeting halfway. You're kind of taking advantage of that person.
Exactly. That's an abuse. That's simple abuse.
Yeah.
You coming from work and now you have to do cleaning, laundry, cook, and take care of kids and everything else. So like that's not halfway. Where is your halfway?
Mm,
You know. So again, discussing and being also aware of what's going on. I'm not saying don't when you in love, great, but don't be blind. I know love is blind, but maybe the first one, the second or the third or the fourth, have your eyes open and take care of yourself as well.
yeah, you gotta have those boundaries, right? Going back to the boundaries too, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Codependency. Oh, and so this is something that I hear people say all the time. Oh, that is not my love language. Um, my husband and I, we don't really get along because we have different love languages. And I'm always saying to myself, well, how did you get into this situation and not recognize that? Like you're with them 2, 3, 4 years before you get married and not recognize that, right? And here it's like the five primary ways. This is this, again, this is a counselor term. The five primary ways people express and receive love are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts. Wow. Quality time. One would think they'd be receiving and giving gifts. Quality time and physical touch are supposed to be the five primary ways people express and receive love. And I can see how you could be, and I think I was in a relationship with this where I love to give physical touch, but the person was into receiving gifts. So,
Missing
yeah, what do you think about the love languages? The first time I heard about this, I was like, sounds very like someone just made this up. What do you think? Do you think this love languages are real?
Oh no, it's absolutely it's a very real thing
Okay.
because we are learning either from somewhere or from someone, either watching our parents. We're learning how they express their feelings towards each other. If we don't have that, because not everyone had full family
Right.
when we're raised, so we're learning either from movies or from friends or from reading books, and we are adopting what works for us.
Right.
But this is my issue with the love languages in a
Hmm.
relationship.
Right.
When people are dating and they see how one is expressing towards the other,
Right.
so how are we getting, if this is not acceptable, how are we getting into marriage, to engagement and marriage and living together? If this is not acceptable to you, let's say you do physical way, by touch, and she wants gifts, wasn't that from the beginning?
I'm going to say to you that this is part of another term that we'll talk about a little bit later. Gaslighting. In the in the beginning,
I like
a
that one,
lot,
yeah.
a lot of people talk to one another. You're talking to them. They're talking to you. Getting into this in love. What? Yeah, everything's flowing, but you're not actually talking to the right person. You're talking to their representative. that the person who you are getting all these gifts from is not really a gift giving person. They may be a physical touch person. This person who's an acts of service person may just be doing that because it seems like that's what they give you all five love languages. They're like super. And then when you get to the point where, oh, now we're married, all of a sudden go sleep on the couch. So I'm upset with you for whatever. That's the issue. I think
Where is
that's
my
what
gift? You didn't give it to me. Get out. You still got your doghouse. It's like, and
wow.
see, that's my problem, because I do, maybe my expectations of humans are a little too high. If you are
Mm,
above 15 or 16, you should be able to like sit down and talk, and okay, this is not working for me. I think I should get this and this from you. What do you think? Or like, okay, we're gonna move in together. So how the life will look like.
I've
I
said
always
this
had
so
those
many times.
conversations. I
You are
always
so
had those
practical.
conversations.
You are always practical. Every time I see, I'm just like, you are not the right woman to be representing women on here because it's just generally not how they won't tell you what it is that they actually want. They won't have conversations about things that they need. They see you doing that they don't like. They're like, I'll change him, right? And I think I can live with that. And then, yeah, 10, 15 years down the road, you're like, you snore and I hate it.
It's funny because I had my first boyfriend when I was 16 and a half.
Okay.
And my mother was teaching me how to
Mhm.
deal with a boyfriend.
Okay. Okay.
And I must be really not normal person, because to me there was always, okay, if I want something, I have to communicate.
Right.
And I was taught by my mother, when
Yeah.
he comes in, pretend that you are upset. Why would I do that? So he can sit and think, what can I do to make her happy? But I will tell him what makes me happy. But I'm in a good mood. I'm happy he's coming. So we're gonna listen to music on those, uh those things
That's
that no
why.
longer exist. Not the tapes that was the before
Records,
those.
CDs,
No,
records,
before that,
before records.
after records. I forgot how to call those things.
Before records, you were listening to birds. I don't know what you're talking about. You're not that old. Stop it.
Like, so
Records, cassette tapes, CDs.
there were like that was before cassettes. There were like big round spools of,
Oh, oh,
how do you call that?
what do you mean records? Albums you talking about, right?
No, not records, not the vinyl records. They were like tapes, but not the cassette tapes. Cassette tapes, you just pop it in. You have to have the big device. You put two spools with the like, uh, and they were.
Agnes, are you telling me you listen to music on reel to reel? Is that
There
what
you go. There you go. There you go.
you That's wild.
And I didn't like the music he liked,
For
because he
him.
was into heavy metal. So just to show him that I was listening, I just simply move around.
Yeah,
He would think I
that's
was
that
listening.
one. That's wild.
He made me cry now. Oh, I needed this. I needed this stuff. Yes. So, like, you know, just simply, okay, fine. Sometimes you will say, someone will ask you what's going on with nothing, just because you don't want to talk about it. But
Yeah,
fine, there are certain things that you don't want to discuss.
I get it.
But when it comes to relationship, because between, like, I can't imagine my husband comes home and said, "What's wrong? Why are you upset?" Nothing. He's tired after work. What the hell? I put him through this to this, terror of, oh my God, did I do something, of what's going on? Did something happen? He's got better things to do after work. He wants to relax. And that's
Can I
my
tell
my
you
role, like my as his wife, to help him to do that.
one of the good things that has come out of social media? One of the good things, okay? Sometimes people complain social media is not a good thing, blah, 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 blah. But I see a lot of normalizing of the women actually saying, when you do this X, and it's a bunch of different things, but they'll say, when you do this to your husband, you know what you're doing to him. Can you just think of, the steps we're going through? You're basically saying to him, oh, I'm okay. No, I'm sad. And then he's like, what's going on? And then you won't tell him what it is. The man can't read your mind. Like those little things that you'll see every now and then on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. That's one of the few good things, because it sounds like they are normalizing the fact that women realize to some extent some of the games that have been played over years and years and years and years and years don't need to be played anymore. And it's partially because it's a manipulation. It's kind of a manipulation, but it's also because nobody told them that was wrong. They told them that that's how you do it. You got to do that, or else you're going to you're going to lose the boyfriend, right? So
Well,
basically,
that's see, this is one of the reasons why there are affairs happening in relationships, in marriages, in long-term relationships.
yeah.
You're coming home after work and you're dealing only with problems, and you're dealing with bad moods, and you're dealing with money problems, with you're
Mm.
dealing with kids issues and things. That's always, like, always something bad. There's always something to deal with. There is no moment of laughter. There's no moment, hi honey, how are you, sit down, I'll do something for you, or I'll make sure that you relax or whatever. Uh, so he or she will look for someone where they have, when they feel free, when they feel cherished, when they feel wanted. Because no matter
Or
how old you are, you still need to feel wanted, and that you still got it, that your partner still sees something in you,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know so we're
very
doing it to ourselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people complain. Saw this great one. A woman says, "Oh, I told him that, yeah, we can go back to his place, but no sex." And then he's like a gentleman, he goes back to the place, and he's ready to leave, but she's like, no, you can stay. And they get on the bed, and nothing. He doesn't even try. And then she gets up the next morning. She's like, I am the problem because now I'm upset that he didn't try. Am I ugly? And I'm like, but you told him. That's what you said. But so yeah, you're so right. There seems to be multiple times where it seems like it's not working out, and so we're gonna end on that very very last one there, the one that I was talking about that seems to be part of the problem that people have so often. What am I doing? Oh, I hadn't put it in there. This one people talk about all the time. There was a movie about this, and I think the movie is called The Gaslight, and I think that's where it actually came from. But the guy, the whole time during this movie, and it's an old movie, it might be from the 1940s or 1950s, it's black and white, and it's a guy explaining manipulative behavior where one partner makes the other person doubt their perceptions or their memories or reality at all in order to control them, in order to get away from them, like do whatever it is. Ghosting is one of those things, right? And I feel like that's it falls under the gaslighting thing, because you're acting as if that person did something that means that you don't have to talk to them any at all, when all you have to do is just say, hi, I'm not really interested anymore, sorry, thank you, goodbye. But people can't be mature, so sometimes they do this gaslighting thing, and that is and I've seen it where people literally feel like their world is, that is not what happened. And that's why Now everybody is videotaping everything, okay? Because you don't just get gaslit by people in your relationship, but you get gaslit by
So
God.
let me ask you a question. Would that be a gaslighting situation?
Okay.
Um, a group of friends are finding out that their friend is getting married, so they
Hmm.
decide to throw him a bachelor party.
Oh no.
And I know it's horrible, horrible thing to do.
Horrible.
How dare they? So they will, okay, hey, we're gonna take you to strip club, whatever. And the fiance says, oh no, you cannot go to the strip club.
Hmm.
So a future mother-in-law says, listen, he loves you so much, he won't even look at anything. This is just a tradition, let it go. Right? Afterwards, the groom to be is being told your mother is sending you to the strip club.
Your
Is
mother was
that
encouraging that behavior or whatever it
no,
is.
no, 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 not encouraging the behavior. She's
No, but that's what
sending you to strip club.
she's sending you. Not even she's sending you. She's like, look here, I need you to go down to the strip club and get yourself involved with some half naked lady instead of your fiance because whatever reason. But yeah, listen, people
Is
can.
that a gaslighting
I
situation?
don't know if it's gas. That's more like someone's twisted perception of a situation that clearly was not that. And by the way, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, that is a very, very common um, thing that people do for bachelor parties beforehand and bachelorette parties, by the way, either way. So for someone to then turn it on the mother-in-law seems like they're reaching. It seems like they're looking for something to be upset about. And in a way, yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, you're gaslighting. The reality is not that you were sending the person to to the to the strip club, but that you were just probably just saying, hey, that's very, very normal. Don't worry about
It's
it.
a tradition.
Yeah,
Just let it
yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, leave it be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting that someone would decide that that is their issue. And that's the hill they're going to die on. But yeah, I've seen it happen in so many other ways that people are saying things that happened, and that's not what happened. And so you kind of have to nowadays, like especially with deceptive people or people who are trying to take advantage of you, you have to almost always, guys. I know when someone tells you to keep a journal, you're like, oh, that's for girls. That's a diary. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, you should keep a journal. Not only for things that are happening in your life so you can look back at them and say, oh, this is what happened, but also for the fact that you can use it to sometimes, push yourself forward. Okay, these are my goals and whatever, and get forward. And ladies, yeah, if you're being told that you behaved a certain way and that's not what happened, but it's being painted in that way, yeah, get your phone out, take some video or take some audio. I don't know, man. You gotta do something because I don't want you to be taken advantage of and then almost feel like you're going crazy. Like
Yeah.
I'm so happy at some really crucial junctures of my separation that I took video and that I wrote wrote things in a journal because years later people are trying to tell me the way it went. I'm like, no, 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 no. Hold on a second. Let me check my
There
notes.
it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, gaslighting is manipulative behavior where one partner makes the other person doubt their perceptions or their memories. It's an exaggeration sometimes a complete flip of what is actually happening. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. We only got to like 4 of those. I have, ladies and gents, we have like 20 of these things that people are always talking about. Maybe next time we'll talk about polyamory or
Mm.
micro cheating, or yeah, situationships,
Yeah.
and trauma bonding, things like those. All of those words that people talk about all the time. You hear and you're just like, what? What are we talking about? And we're going to ask Agnes, because Agnes has some of the answers for us. Ladies and gents, if you want to send in specific information, or you want to ask us to cover a particular topic, you send that to mailbag at lovedeathandtaxes.com. If you're looking for help with your taxes. And what's interesting is, we were talking about this in the middle of the year. Now you're coming to the end of the year, and so it's going to start up again. nytaxresolutions.com, where Agnes has no judgment, but if you have issues and you have to get them taken care of either with the IRS or New York State, you definitely want to talk to her, but there's no judgment. Like and subscribe. I love Death and Taxes. We're here on YouTube. We're here on Facebook. We're here on LinkedIn. We're over there on well, we're using StreamYard, but we're all over the place. Wherever you get your podcast, you can hear it over there as well. Spotify, well, Google Podcasts is out. Apple Podcasts, over on Amazon Podcasts, there all the time now. Take care. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye, Agnes. You can take
Bye
care.
bye.